there are some who have sacrificed spiritual integrity for personal interest, power over people, and delusions of grandeur. This is talking about spiritual teachers, gurus that have done that. Yeah, this quote from David Hawkins helped me to get out of some really bad situation in which I was for many years. I don't usually want to get involved in things like that, but I've been seeing lately, especially on TV, the Nexium, the Vow, and Escaping Twin Flames on Netflix, and my experience with the Fellowship of Friends in Northern California. So it's really important to discern who you give as a spiritual seeker, as a person that is innocently, idealistically seeking guidance in order to find yourself, to find out who you are, to reach God, or however we call it. As a spiritual seeker, we are naive, innocent, and gullible. And there are such false teachers out there that will take advantage of that in the guise of helping you awaken, helping you reach some higher states of consciousness, however they call it. And as a young, naive seeker, you may be deceived, you may be bamboozled by appearances, you may be, they may even be quite wise, some of them, you know? They may even teach you some very important methods of how to be out of your mind, or how to be more aware, or how to remember yourself, or how to work out with some deeply seated wounds in your subconscious. So the very dangerous and pernicious ones are actually the ones that are actually quite intelligent, and they have some spiritual understanding, and they even help you. They helped me somehow, you know? But it's really important to remember this. A true spiritual teacher, and I love spiritual teachers. I love them. I had many teachers from various traditions, and I had a whole range of teachers that I'm very grateful for them. Yeah, I'm not saying to just do it yourself, just be you and don't trust anybody. I'm saying that one needs to discern and be very wise, which is hard for a young seeker. So that's why there are some criteria. David Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins, was speaking about in one of his books that like about 100 criteria that help you to discern between a true spiritual teacher or between a false teacher or fallen guru. Yeah? Some of these criteria I mentioned at the beginning. So sacrificing spiritual integrity for personal interest. Usually it's hard to see this, but it's like, seems like on the outside they are very giving and generous and wise and loving and compassionate, but the inside it's driven by greed, by wanting to get more followers, more fame, more money, more luxury cars, more antiques. Yeah. Another criteria is that this, I mean, let's go straight to it, man. Like a very pernicious one and very hurtful one is this phenomena called holy sex. Holy sex. Holy sex is, it's a form of it's an aspect of a sexual predator, a spiritual teacher who is a sexual predator. Holy sex means that the teacher will tell you something like that. And this has happened so many times. It happened with many people, many religions, many traditions. He will say something like, you know, I'm a very special being, like high, lofty, enlightened being. And then for the good of your spiritual ascension, for the good of your evolution, it will be very useful for you to have sex with me. The guy or the girl is not saying, hey man, I like you, man, you are attractive, let's have sex. They don't come like this openly and honestly. They say, you know, if you spend time with me and if you have sex with me, it's a great opportunity for your soul. You will get more closer to the teacher. You will get some kind of special transmission. You will get more closer to God or to the gods if you have sex with me. And then if you have sex with me, it's like it will be a right decision, choosing your inner work, choosing your commitment towards your awakening. And if you have sex with me, you get closer to the teacher, you get closer to the school, you get closer to the gods. And of course, this doesn't come straight up like that, it's kind of slowly, Later, when I started to work with sexual predators and sex offenders, I realized there's a whole term for that. It's called grooming, where a sexual predator kind of gains the trust and gets close to the future victim and kind of inserts themselves in their heart, in their mind, in order then to take advantage of them. This happens with kids and with stuff like that, which is horrible and highly devastating. But the same thing happened with this holy sex with spiritual teachers in some spiritual communities. And I know for sure I was one, called Fellowship of Friends, where this happened with hundreds and hundreds of men for many, many years. It is probably happening now. So they would say, and also, nobody forces you. There's not violence, but it's like this whole culture in the whole thing that, it's very special if you have sex with the teacher. Although even if you may not like to have sex, it might be the same sex or something, it's not your preference. They say that if you reject this, it's like you are missing a big opportunity to grow your soul. If you don't have sex with the teacher, he says that you are making a big mistake. You are choosing your lower self. You are not trusting your teacher who is guiding you towards God. And of course, you can refuse, but there is a big pressure, peer pressure, this spiritual manipulation program, where it's also condoned by all the other followers. There's this idea that it's like a maximum opportunity for acceleration of growth. Yeah? This is not okay. This is not spiritual growth. This is high-level deception that is very harmful, very harmful. I have seen the aftermath of this with many people. It can range from just being depressed, from having panic attacks for many years afterwards, for having psychotic breakdown. I know people that psychotic breakdown and lose their shit for many years, and they are still not very well right now. Have this ranging to like deep betrayal, deep disconnection from oneself. If one engages in this kind of stuff, of giving your power away, giving your power away, believing this older, seemingly wiser teacher, you are getting off your inner compass, It's like people sometimes can suffer for many years. They can go in the pits of despair. They can feel another even worse effect at some level is that at some point one feels so betrayed and so hurt by realizing that one has been deceived and tricked and it was all bullshit, that some people just simply afterwards, they don't believe in spirituality anymore. They say the spiritual path is bullshit just because this teacher kind of did this horrible stuff. As a psychotherapist, or as a teacher, there are very clear guidelines, with boundaries with your clients or with your students. Very clear boundaries that are very healthy, because actual spiritual growth, of actual spiritual healing or psychological healing doesn't involve having sex with your facilitator, with your teacher. And it's amazing that this is, you may say, man, this is dumb, this is stupid. How can you do this? How can you not see through this? if you see even like in Nexium or other cult stuff, this is like a gradual, steady breakdown of our inner compass, and it's taking advantage of innocence. You know, that's what is outrageous, and I can no longer just sit and do nothing. It's outrageous, and it's not okay for a so-called spiritual teacher to just come in and manipulate your mind with all kind of techniques to kind of disconnect you from your inner truth. And it's easy because a young seeker is confused. Maybe a young seeker hasn't received attention from his dad, or hasn't received love, or has been, I don't know what happened in their family, so they are longing for belonging. They are longing for love, they are longing for kindness. And such so-called spiritual teacher gets in there with the clutches of kind of the clutches of greed, of sexual addiction, of total out of integrity, and messes with one's innocence. And it's a disgrace to spirituality, and it is a disgrace to the fourth way. And I highly recommend you to study David Hawkins. I saw him a long time ago, and he's one of the only teachers who would say like that he was teaching about awakening and enlightenment and transcending the ego and being compassionate, but also had a whole section of his teaching that will say, he will warn the seekers, will say, hey, it's my duty as a teacher to warn you that there are many people out there as wolves in sheep's clothing that appear to be like that. They appear to be high conscious individuals, but if they fit this criteria, and he gives almost like 90, 100 point criteria to discern between a true teacher and a false teacher or a fallen teacher. And sometimes such teacher, you know, some of them may do it intentionally, consciously, perniciously. And some of them, they really believe the lies they are telling to these people. They are really deceived themselves, you know. And I have compassion for their soul and for this, I think it's really serious negative soul karma, if karma exists, and I think it does, to kind of be in a position of spiritual authority and guidance, and to take advantage of people's innocence and to play with their head. So I have compassion for them, and I know it's coming from deep delusion and deep self-deceit, and the person might not even know it, or they know it and they hide to themselves. I don't know. Whatever the causes is, it's not okay, and I want to speak up for that. And if you have been a victim of that, just reach out to me, man. I can talk to you free of charge, man. All right. I will do more videos later about this, because I just talked about just this holy sex stuff, but there are many other criterias. Ciao.